Good evening, everybody.
Oh,
Danny and
pop
Wanda from Deepsouth, Homestead.
Do your pop out, because that's going to go away. Yeah.
That's right. Nope. Pop out first.
There
so we
you
can
go.
read the chat.
So we can at least see it. Yeah.
All right, now watch it do something stupid when I go to do this. No, it did it. Okay.
Good right there. Just
Right
leave
there.
it alone.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. All right. So can y'all hear us tonight? Last week we had an issue with sound and we had to use the phone.
It wasn't us, it was actually the computer.
I had to go in and do a troubleshoot afterward, and it had to fix some problems in my computer. It was actually the computer that was having issues.
Hey, Jen.
So this time, hopefully everything's okay. The internet may be crappy or whatever, but you know, that's all I can say.
Yep.
So I see a lot of people's jumped in.
Yep.
As far as we know, a lot of people got snow, but the people that usually get snow didn't have snow.
That's what I was fixing to say. The people who don't normally get snow got snow. The people who normally get snow did not get any. But then the people who didn't get any snow got the temperatures.
Yeah, pretty much. So we got, what, 4 to 5 inches of snow.
It was right. It was a good 5 inches. Could have been a little more. Some places, it depends on where you check it at. It was 5 inches some places it was 4 inches, some places it was 8 inches. I mean, it all depends on where you check it.
It's where it piled up.
Yeah.
So we had a nice, couple of days of it the first day, and then it quit by about 4.
About 4:30 in the afternoon it quit.
Like that. Yeah. And the next day it didn't clear up.
There's still snow
Only
on the ground.
about half of it cleared up the second day. And today there's still a touch of snow.
Yeah, this afternoon there was still snow in places under the trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question, what do we do with those cracklings?
What do we do with them?
Yeah.
Oh, when I make cornbread, I just take a spoonful of it and add to my cornbread according to the size pone I'm making. Like a little bitty one, I just put like a teaspoon in. A bigger pone, for a family size, I'd probably put 2 to 3 tablespoons of cracklings in it. It gives it a little bit more of the lard in it because there's lard surrounding it because that's the way we packed it. And then the brown crackling part of it, you get a bite of that when you it gives you that taste, I guess is what mainly.
Yeah.
We did the lard.
We did the lard the day before the snow because it was so windy and so cold outside. I told Wanda, I said, we're just gonna cook lard today and get that over with. Plus you canned beef and beef broth.
Yeah, beef broth that day.
Yeah.
The roads were fine. We went to town yesterday.
Yesterday we went to town.
And there was only a couple of spots that still had icy patches, but it was slowly warming up. So everything around here should have been good by today.
Yeah, today the road should be fine. Boone's Mill, Virginia. I think that's where Daniel Boone was actually from, up there somewhere around Boone's Mill, Virginia. Or he was in Kentucky, but I think he still went to Virginia.
Our high tunnel did fine. Everything, we didn't lose anything in the high tunnel except the tomatoes, and the peppers wilted down and we trimmed them. Danny took some of them out.
Yeah.
But we were already peppered out anyway.
And
we saved a couple of the bushes to see if they would come back out, but you know, the tomatoes I pretty much knew when it got down to 8 degrees one morning, they wasn't gonna make it. And Danny thought the celery was gone. He went out there 2 different mornings. Well, the first morning he come in and he says, I hate to tell you, but all the celery's gone. And I had thought about getting it the day before, but we were canning lard and beef. And I said, I just don't have time to add something else. And I could have got it and put it in the fridge, I guess, and then worked with it the next day. But we didn't get the celery. And he said, I think it's gone. It was just drooping, hanging down.
The celery fell slam down and was laying over the edges of the Vago bed. I told her, I says, it's gone, it's over with, you know. About
an hour or so later, I went out because I was filming off and on. And when I went out, I walked and I opened the door and I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with our celery. I said, what's wrong with Danny? I said, that celery was just as pretty.
It stood right back up. I was like, what?
So yesterday he did the same thing. He walked in, he goes, I'm telling you, that celery's gone. and went out there later, and today is just as
It
well.
was yesterday.
Well, we still got 3 plants.
Yeah, but they're still standing pretty.
But yesterday we went ahead and cleared them up, gave Heidi some of the plants because they're still in the middles coming out. So what we did, we saved us 2, we give Heidi several, we got Chris some, and we're just going to see how long they'll go because it didn't hurt the celery.
No.
It didn't hurt it at all. And even my cauliflower outside, we wrapped it that first day, the day before. We put a blanket over it, then we put plastic over it, and I took it off today. So that's been Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, over 4 days before I took it off. And my cauliflower still made it. I'm excited.
Well, tonight's the first night we're not going to have a freeze.
And we're not covering anything.
And we're not covering anything up tonight. Tonight it's only going to get down to, they said 38.
Yeah.
Now this morning was very cold. We were at 21 degrees this morning. It was still really cold.
Yeah. Well, and some people are asking it in celery a cool weather crop. It is. But when you get snow and ice and freezing rains, and we didn't get freezing rains. We were very blessed this time. We got the snow, and then we got a heavy, heavy frost this morning. And it didn't hurt anything because we had most stuff in the high tunnel. But the temperatures got down, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? 2 days ago.
2 days ago, it got down to 8 degrees.
Yeah, it stayed 9 degrees for several hours. And then when Danny thought that was the final, he said 9. It was like 6, maybe around 6.
6 o'clock in the morning.
It dropped down to 8 and stayed at 8 for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I was pretty sure a lot of the high tunnel was gone, but it really wasn't.
Well, the big thing was we went out there and realized that the door had blowed open on it.
Yeah.
And that let a lot of the heat out when that door came open. So we was, But now we spent today, we took everything out of the end of the high tunnel.
The front
part of it. We took all the pots out. We took all the blocks out, all the boards they were sitting on. We moved a lot of it outside, and we put the new Vago beds in the high tunnel. We filled them with soil and amended all of them. And
I was gonna say
we put the new Vago beds in, the children's Vago beds in. We have it all redesigned. It's a complete new design. We have a video coming up on that. It'll be a complete new design.
Yeah, the front part of it we totally changed, and when it warms up more, then we're gonna work with the GreenStalks and get the strawberries and some of the GreenStalks.
We gotta get some more potting soil. We out of potting soil.
Yeah, we gotta make a trip to town, and
as a result, tonight me and Ms. Wanda are in horrendous pain.
Yeah, both of us are hurting, I've been hurting for 2 or 3 days.
From lugging around on them big old mineral tubs full of dirt. We should have. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, I've had I guess it's like a.
It sounds like a sciatica.
Sciatic nerve.
Yeah, sciatic nerve.
And it's been going on for about 3 or 4 days now, and it'll let up. But then today it didn't help matters none, pushing on pots.
Yeah. There's old Lou Just Lou. I saw Lou Just Lou over on Appalachia True Grit when they were doing their
True Grit
Appalachia with their 2 rednecks and an iPhone thing. I saw Lou Just Lou over there.
Yeah. We're trying to get everything kind of situated because we want a garden. Danny would love to go up there and plow the garden and get ready for English peas.
I'd love to, but
it's just wet.
It's just way too wet.
And so we're going to plant a lot of English peas this week in the high tunnel. We're going to see how many of them we can actually grow in there because, frankly, we don't really need to be growing anything much right now. And the onions is about the only thing that we're really worried about, I guess.
Yeah.
And
we have some potatoes up there. I don't know if they got froze
in the ground
or not. We don't know.
So if the potatoes froze, then we'll have to replant. But that was our potato stock, and it's the only potato stock we had. And we were kind of playing the odds, hoping we wouldn't freeze. And I've chopped them off twice. So they may come back out and they may not.
Richard Stanberry says, how warm does it need to be outside before we let our baby chicks go to their permanent coop? That really depends on how feathered out the baby chicks are. If they're completely feathered out, and you have a way that you can keep the cold wind off of them, and you can keep them around 80 degrees or 70 to 80 degrees, they'll be fine. But if it gets colder than like 70 to 80 degrees and they have no way to huddle up and stay warm and keep the wind off of them, I wouldn't let them out.
Yeah, Miss Sleepy has some hurt-me-not, and I have some of that. I'd have to take a bath in it right about now, because I think there ain't a spot on me that ain't hurting. I'd have to slather us both down in it.
Yeah, definitely.
But let me see if I can show what I got before I forget it. Oh, and Miss Vicky, you can tell what Miss Vicky sent you right quick if you want to.
Oh yeah, Miss Vicky sent us 2 trees this week. It was a Pakistani white mulberry, which I have planted out on a specific place all to itself, and then a Indian free peach, which is a white peach. It's kind of looks like I call it a blood stain look on the inside around the outside edges. It's a very big peach. It's a cling-free peach. So we have it in the ground down with Mr. Jerry's peaches, because I have one more space left for a peach tree. And luckily that one space, Ms. Vicky's white peach went in there with it, because even though it says it's self-fertile, it probably would do better with other pollinators, so I put it down with the other peaches. So hopefully, and it is grafted onto a dwarf stock, a citation dwarf stock, so hopefully that's a dwarf stock, so maybe it won't get so big and tall like a normal peach tree would.
Yeah. Oh, Linda's roasting marshmallows in the fire pit. She's going to make me want a marshmallow.
I hear you.
All right, so I forgot to see who sent this. Hold on.
Hold on, Miss Wanda's got to go check something.
I set the box down and didn't.
Yep.
I knew before I sat down.
Okay.
The Dennis family in MI.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Wait, Missouri. Where's MI? MI's Michigan. Michigan.
Yeah.
I had to get my things right. The Dennis family from Michigan sent me some maple syrup that they made.
Maple syrup.
This is theirs, and I think she messaged me. I think she told me that they only ended up with 2 or 3 gallons or 4 gallons. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
But she sent me a good sample, and I hadn't tried her maple syrup yet because I just got it. And this is maple syrup candy. She sent
maple leaf candy.
Yeah, it looks like little maple leaves made out of maple syrup. It's sugar, really. And some fudge flavored coffee. I didn't know they made I know they make some chocolate coffee, but I've never seen fudge flavored coffee. So I'll be trying that probably tomorrow and see how. So it makes 4 to 8 cups in that little thing. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna be making some coffee.
Okay, Darlene Wright says, what herb seeds are you getting ready to plant? Technically, I am getting ready to, as a matter of fact, today I planted 2 herbs today, and this is going to really shock you because most people don't look at these as herbs. Ms. Vicky has sent us 4 banana trees here a while back, and 2 of those were dwarf banana trees, and we were going to leave the dwarf ones in the high tunnel. The other ones are going to go outside as soon as it warms up. Believe it or not, a banana doesn't grow on a tree.
Nope.
It grows on a, what do they call it, starts with an M, a mung or a muse or something like that, which is actually an herb. A banana is the tallest and largest growing herb in the world. So I planted 2 herbs today. I planted 2 different varieties of bananas today. But other than that, we don't really plant herb seeds every year. We pretty much have the herbs that we need. We have our mints and our rosemaries and all this type of stuff. Now comfrey. I will be planting some dill. Let's see, probably.
I need to send out some. I need to put dill seeds on our website because Danny's got like 5 million, and I'm not lying, 5 million dill seeds.
My dill usually goes ballistic. It'll get 10 feet tall and look like a giant cedar tree growing in the high tunnels, you know. And I always harvest the seeds off of them and save them because I mean it's a good variety. So if I'll be planting anything.
Well, bananas has a lot of potassium. It gives you.
No, Darlene, I'm not pulling your leg about bananas.
Isn't it potassium?
Yeah, and the bananas are loaded with potassium. Yeah.
So it would make sense that it's a type of herb. You know, we just don't think of it as that.
Yeah.
But the way a banana grows, the leaves keep coming out. So it's not necessarily a tree trunk. Each individual leaf keeps coming out, forming. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
And so it is an odd thing if you don't know about it. So
no, it's not monocot, Pete. It starts with an M, but it's only like 3-4 letters. If you can Google it right quick, I mean, I don't have the ability to because I'm live.
I don't have my phone. Well, I was way over there.
We could Google it right quick, but there is a word for it, and it starts with an M. It's not monocot. Monocot it's like corn or a grass or something like that is what a monocot is.
Is it too early to seed start in our area? Well, Renata, we're trying to hold off just another week or two at least because we have another cold. Well, you said it's not as bad as
it all depends on what man does with his weather modification. If man don't tamper with anything, technically we only have one freeze left coming, and after that, I didn't see for all the way into March. I didn't see any more freezes. But I've got a sneaky suspicion that somebody is going to do something to make it cold again.
But herbs that we've got garlic, we've got onions. We don't use a lot of just things. We keep our stuff on hand, and I usually have our rosemary. We still got a rosemary out there. It didn't die. What else we got?
Vicky got it. It's called a musa. I couldn't think of musa
Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, and Nelson and all of them. It's called a musa.
Yeah, and so.
I mean, there's crazy things out there like that, guys, and we don't ever think about. I mean, it's like saying President Trump is the 61st president. Everybody wants to call him the 47th, but he's actually the 61st. And
I thought it was the 60th.
No, the 61st.
Was it?
And
okay.
And most people don't even know why he's the 61st president. I mean,
they don't stop and think about it.
They don't stop.
And that was something I was going to Google yesterday, and I forgot about it. I got sidetracked and didn't Google it. But I actually heard a year or two ago. I know it's been over a year, maybe longer. A guy said something about that George Washington wasn't the first president, so I thought he was lying. So I looked it up.
Right.
And by golly, there was
15 presidents
15 before him?
Before George Washington. No, it was either 14 or 15 before George Washington.
But he was the first president of the
continental United States. Yeah.
He was the first president of the continental United States. So it would have made sense that they had some type of government before him.
Yeah.
They didn't have all these colonies over here just floating around doing nothing.
Right.
So it is kind of weird. You find things out that you knew. If we were taught that in school, it was in a roundabout way and we didn't catch on.
Right.
You know? Because I do remember studying about the United States, the 13 colonies and how they were ruled and things. But it never dawned on me to think about them as having a president and then George Washington was first, you know.
Yes. Oh, yes. Velma got it too. She said it's called a musa. Yeah. Now, musa is actually a type of banana, but it's also the herb, is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
We've got lots of garlic going in several places. Danny saw some more in the old.
Oh man, we can't. Our garlic's coming up everywhere. I
saw some up around a tree. You remember 2 years ago when we bought this property? It was everywhere in the yard. I don't know if there were trees there and they planted around the trees and the trees died. But in the spring, I went around. I think I've got a video on Pecan Grove showing me going around finding garlic just popping up out of the ground in the yard everywhere. So We have garlic still up there. I saw some the other day popping up, and I'm like, I thought I got it all.
Yeah. Janet Stanberry says, "Is it good to plant tomatoes in the ground or in a pot?" I tell you the honest truth, I like to plant them in a pot because to me, if you plant them in a pot, you can control the environment all around them. There's no weeding, there's no competition. It's a whole lot easier to put a trellis up. I mean, I'm a pot person when it comes to planting tomatoes.
Okay, so let me answer this one because Danny and I talked about this while we were eating. What do we have for supper tonight? So we had broccoli that we had harvested just before the snow came because we weren't sure if the broccoli would make it. So we have broccoli tonight. We've been eating broccoli several nights.
Yep.
I harvested some of my carrots, and let's see what else.
Peppers.
We had peppers, onions, something else. Broccoli, peppers, onions. Is there something else in that?
No, that's it. Broccoli, peppers, onions.
Carrots. And
carrots. Yeah.
I
was looking for there was something yellow in it, so I was like, okay, it's the carrot or orange.
And then I used lard that we cooked down, so that's our lard from our pig. And then I fixed cabbage. I'd harvested one head of cabbage that was pretty big before the snow, and we had eaten slaw a couple of days off that. With all the outer leaves, I just chopped them up and steamed them down with a touch of lard and salt. And so I made cornbread from our corn, from Danny corn, and we had the cabbage over the cornbread. And is that it?
I had a hamburger patty, but
yeah, and the hamburger patty was from our beef.
Yeah.
So our whole meal, basically salt and pepper not included, came from our place. We grew it all. It makes you happy when you can do that.
Somebody was asking, in Texas, is it too late to plant garlic? Not if you're planting elephant garlic. I mean, you'd be fine planting elephant garlic. As a matter of fact, if I lived in Texas, that's the garlic I would be planting because you've got a horrendous summer coming. And elephant garlic is going to be the one that's going to make you the proudest. Okay. But you have to understand about elephant garlic because elephant garlic is really not a garlic. It's in the leek family, and it is a 2-year garlic. The first year you plant it, it just makes a bulb. The second year, it makes cloves.
Okay, we got a couple of them. 3B says it's a new T-shirt idea. I'm a pot person when it comes to tomatoes.
Oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
All right, Laura, whatever. I don't know how to say her last name. She said, "What would you have said if someone had told you 15 years ago you would be live every Saturday night with over 1,000 people you have never met?" Whew.
Well, Laura, let me tell you what. Over 15 years ago.
That would have been before we met.
That was before Wanda and I met. I was out of the system. I had myself taken out of the system completely because of things.
And internet was not on his...
Internet was not anything I ever fooled with because I used to do a lot with internet and I walked away from it and I said, I don't want to ever fool with this again. I had my slate wiped clean on everything about me. I mean, you look for me now, all you're going to find on me is just plain old person, okay? Everything's gone. But I let one of my neighbors talk me into getting started on Facebook, which I never did Facebook. I hated Facebook. And Wanda and I had gotten married at that time, and we started doing a few little videos on Facebook, you know?
Yeah.
And
then
along came YouTube. I mean, I had watched YouTube some in the past.
I never had.
She never had.
I didn't do YouTube.
I knew what it was, but I was never a subscriber to anything. I just went on there mainly for watching funny stuff, or if I needed to fix something, I'd go.
He would go do, like, if something tore up, he'd go Google it, not realizing that YouTube was something that he could subscribe to.
Right.
He would Google it, and a YouTube video would come up, and he'd watch it. Neither one of us, and my mom used to say, "Hey, let me show you what I've been watching on YouTube." And I would die out laughing. I said, "You're what?" I thought it was a kid thing. And this was like 12 years ago, 15. And I would laugh at Mom because she was sitting around watching YouTube. And then Danny, when I don't remember how a neighbor or something said something about YouTube maybe or whatever.
That was Daryl.
No, we met him afterward.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, this was before we had done some on Facebook, and so I think Paul was one said.
Might have been Paul. Yeah.
He said something about, have you ever thought about doing YouTube? And Danny says, no, I really hadn't. So he went and started looking at some homesteads, because I remember him looking at Appalachia's homestead. He watched Patera because I was in the kitchen. I could hear Patera singing to her cows and goats.
Yeah.
And I said, what are you watching? And he told me, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever, because, you know, I wasn't even thinking about doing anything like that. And you started watching
Boss of the Swamp.
Oh yeah, Boss of the Swamp was big.
Yeah, JC. Let's see, who else was it that
we didn't really sign up for a week or two, and he said, you know, well, you watched the lady with the carrots.
Well, I was trying to figure out how to grow carrots and be successful at it, because I always had trouble with it. And I found this lady growing carrots, and I looked and I watched her with them carrots. I said, that ain't real carrots. I said, there is no way that is real. He
looked at me, he says, if she pulls that carrot out and there are not any roots on that carrot and there's no dirt on it, she just stuck that carrot in there and filmed it. And she pulled this big, huge grocery store carrot up, and it was clean as it could be. There was no dirt on it, no roots on it,
nothing.
And each one of them was planted exactly 6 inches apart. And 6 inches this way. Perfect. The dirt was bright, like fresh out of the bag potting soil. That's how pretty the dirt was.
Yeah.
And you know how fast, down here, the potting soil dries out in 5 seconds.
Right.
And looks different. So he was like,
but I said, if that lady can do that and get views on it, I think I can make a YouTube channel and make a video and get views on it. And
at the time, we were on AT&T.
Yeah.
And the phone bill had always been like $42. Well, then it went up to $50, and then it went up to $55, and he said, if it keeps going up, we're gonna have to shut the phone off. I said, well, we need to keep up with people, because landlines then were big, and it was starting to go out, but he kept saying, well, if we started YouTube, maybe we could pay the phone bill. He said, let's make it pay for itself.
Yeah. Well, if I do anything, it's got to pay for itself. I don't just do something just because.
So we signed up, fixed an account, and the first couple, one of them was the corn sheller.
Corn sheller, yeah. Well, we did the smokehouse first, and then we did the
corn sheller, and
we done a live for Christmas.
You put the little rocket stove that
the rocket stove, yeah.
That's the first thing he did. You watched JC build the rocket stove, and so he did the rocket stove, and he didn't really talk much in any of those. He just showed it, and then we put it up because we didn't know what we were doing at the time. And then we did a live at Christmas, and
that kind of kicked us off. And then we got a shout out from.
No, we didn't do a live. We did
I did by myself.
No, me and you sat by the thing, and we filmed a thing like a Danny and Wanda talk.
Yes, we
didn't
did.
do lives until we had been going about a year.
It was a Danny and Wanda talk. Yes, it was. Yeah.
And so we did Danny and Wanda talks for 3 or 4 years, maybe something like that. But when we started doing the lives about a year and a half afterward, we started cutting back the Danny and Wanda talks because it was too much. It's the same stuff over and over. So
is our chat froze?
Is our chat froze, guys? It looks like it's froze. Are we froze? Hello? I don't know. Maybe they don't care anymore.
It looks like everything's just froze up on us. I wasn't even looking at it.
Me either, but let me look at something. We have an excellent connection. So why is our chat not working? Now.
Oh, there it started moving. Okay.
Okay, nobody's talking, I guess, maybe. And all of a sudden it'll go.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden it runs. Okay, everybody's saying no, it's not froze. Everything says it's good. Okay.
Okay, it's working.
It's working fine now because it's like zooming fast.
It was just sitting there and it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't even nothing going on.
Okay, But yeah, we started YouTube for that reason. Number one was to pay for the telephone bill.
Yeah.
And back when we started, that was in 2000, what year now? 15?
15.
The end of 15, the beginning of 16.
16.
We really got started in 16 more than 15. We didn't put many up in the end.
Okay.
But back then, you didn't have to have all the requirements you have now. All we had to have was 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
And what
was
that was
it. You just had to have 100 subscribers. I don't think they had anything about watch time or
you
anything.
had to make a, there was something to watch time, but it wasn't much.
It wasn't much.
It was something else. There was 2 requirements, and it was minimal.
Very minimal.
We made that the first 2 or 3 videos. We got our first 100 subscribers within the first 3 or 4 days, maybe a week. And we had our first 1,000 subscribers within the first month. And I think we hit 10,000 before the end of the year, which was almost unheard of back then.
Yeah.
People just didn't fly that fast. But we got shout outs in January from 2 different people, Dirt Patch Heaven and Eric from Life and Farmland. And that kind of kick-started us because both of them had at least 3,000 to 4,000 subscribers each, which was big back then. It wasn't, people didn't have 100,000 subscribers and stuff hardly.
Yeah.
I mean, name brand people that'd been there a long time.
Yeah, and then we started getting all these things in our emails, like the Discovery Channel. They contacted us. All these channels that do all these things, like Mountain Man and all them kind of people, they all started contacting us. And it was easy to remember because one of the ladies I talked to's name was Jennifer, and I said, well, that'd be easy to remember because my daughter's name is Jennifer. And they wanted us to get all of our family, my family and Wanda's family, together on a piece of property for the whole summer and shoot a whole video series about surviving off the land and all that. And I told her, I said, it'd be easier for it to freeze over in hell than it would to make that happen, you know?
I looked there, I said, me and all my children and all my grandchildren, you and all your children and grandchildren, all in 10 acres for 3 months. I says,
we would all
ain't happening.
We'd be killed each other.
I said, no way. I said, I love my kids more than that.
Oh,
I said, we ain't living together for 3 months.
No. But we turned down many things like that, and then we started getting all these things that in our emails about buying the views. You know, people start saying, give us this much money and you can get this many views on a video and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden we started noticing channels that was little bitty channels, all of a sudden they got tons of views. Well, we knew where they were coming from, and everybody kept telling us, man, just buy the views, you know. We would not do it. We would not lie, because that's scheming and lying whenever you go. And then people started contacting us, let us do your thumbnails. If we do your thumbnails, then you can get this many views and you can get that many views. It puts you in a whole different algorithm. I was like, nope. I said, we are who we are. We're not turning our channel thumbnails over to somebody else to do and stuff like that, you know.
Lord. All my family together would end up on true crime channel.
We would. I mean, who knows, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy.
I mean, it would have been, if something like that.
They create drama.
That's right. They create drama, and when they're left and gone, you still got the drama in your family to deal with.
Yeah,
so,
you still have your family. You don't have the camera crew.
Right.
And we were like, no, we'll just do our thing. And so, while we've been doing YouTube since, we've been married 11 years. How many years we've been doing YouTube? 9? 9 years.
Yeah.
And in that time, we've not had a whole lot of downtime. I get burnt out sometimes. Like this week, I didn't make as many videos. Last week I didn't make. Sometimes I get burnt out enough that I'm like, okay, I'm not editing. I'm not spending my time tonight editing. I'm going to sit down and do something different. And So when I go through that, about every 2 or 3 months, we
Yeah.
have a few days of no videos, but I film a lot. When we go outside, I'll catch snippets here and there and do
But we
stuff.
don't create content.
No.
That's one thing I used to hate whenever we was first started. They go, oh, YouTubers are content creators, you know, and I kept thinking, what is a content creator? And Wanda and I, we really struggled with that for a while. We thought we was missing something, like, what is a content creator? And
yeah, it took us a while to
after
figure out.
talking to other YouTube channels, because we got to know about 100 different YouTube channels. Some of the giant YouTube channels out there now were started at Deepsouth Homestead almost. And after talking to people, they go, oh man, you know, like you come up with some kind of content because, you know, you don't really have content, you got to create it. I'm like
you go to town and you buy everything you need to make a dish, and you come home and you make that dish and you film it while you're doing, and I'm like, why would you do that? And if you mess up, then you go back to town and you get more and you refilm the parts that you messed up so you can fix it.
yeah.
Or the other one was, we go on Saturdays, we film 10 different projects on Saturdays for the week, which is okay if you need those projects done.
Right.
But if you're creating something and you say, well, today, Danny, why don't you build so-and-so today? If you weren't planning on doing it, you got to create something. That's what we thought it was creating. And so we just...
When you see us, what you see is what you get. When you meet me on the street somewhere, I'm the same person there that I am on the videos. I'm not a different person. I'm the same exact person.
There's a great grandbaby in the works. No, but I didn't say this last week because my son and his wife were here last week, and they hadn't told my other kids yet, but they have now. So my son Jesse and his wife Patty are having a little baby soon.
Yeah.
We don't have no great grands yet, but we do have a grandbaby on the way. And our oldest grandbaby, the youngest grandbabies are 5 years old. So.
Right. But yeah, that's, we don't dress up. We don't do our nails. We don't do our hair. We don't make sure we got the little microphone stuck on our collar so you can see us and hear us perfectly. We're organic. We are, what you see is what you get, we're not going to go out there and break the bank buying all kinds of fancy stuff to shoot a YouTube video.
And back in the day when I first started doing YouTube, I don't get it now, but back when we first started, I would do a lot of cooking videos because people would say, how do you use what you have? What do you do? So I would go in and I would cook. And I had several ladies say, you need to have your nails done, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. And very rude.
Right. Very
rude. And I was like, Danny, I don't want to do my nails because if I do and I dig in the dirt, I've got pretty pink nails with dirt all under them. That don't work for me.
Yeah.
I've never been a nail person, and I didn't figure I needed to be a nail person to be on YouTube. Now, the only thing I did that irked Danny to start with, I can say that now, we did a live stream. When we first started live streams, I would go put on a nice blouse, and I would fix my hair and put on jewelry. I had my jewelry on and everything, like I was going to church, because my mama taught me, when you're going to be around people, you dress nicely. You don't just like, I'm in a t-shirt tonight. So the first probably almost a year.
It was almost a year. It was about a year, yeah.
Every time it got towards Saturday night, I was in there finding a nice blouse.
She was in there making sure she had a bath, making sure her hair was done.
I brushed my teeth.
Brushing her teeth, and
put on
coming
my
out.
Jewelry. And
I'm looking at her like, what the heck are you doing? And she says, we got a live stream. I said, we're not going to church.
I said, but I need to be dressed. I don't need to be just like tonight. I just got out of the shower.
She just got out of the shower. Her hair is wet. I just got out of the shower. Look, I'm wearing a wrinkled up denim shirt. You know what I mean?
Ironing.
And she don't iron.
I don't iron.
So, I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I am just who I am,
Y'all, I will iron if I absolutely have to. Now, I got curtains for the camp, and I had to iron them things because they were folded up and creased, and And you can ask Danny, I was miserable for a while.
Oh, hold on here. Tony Miles says, do you remember Gwen Hobgood? Gwen and I were king and queen in school. She was my girlfriend at one time when I was a little fella.
Oh, are you married to her? Oops.
And I haven't seen that girl since, gosh, probably the 5th grade, maybe 6th. She moved away to Texas, I think it was, and just left us. And I never heard anything from her again. I mean, I'd be curious to find out about her.
We'll see if Tony says anything. Maybe he's married to her.
Tony may have married her. I don't know. But I actually have pictures of me and her, king and queen.
Oh, that was something. I don't know what I did with them. I've got some pictures. I got Danny's, what was it?
Oh, Tony says Mark Hatton told me about you and her. Oh, I haven't seen Mark in several years. He was down on the coast down there, and he was working with Exxon or Chevron, I think it was.
I got your senior portraits. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out my senior portrait, and I'm gonna get out Danny's senior portraits, and I'm gonna have them ready. But yeah, Danny was quite the nice-looking young man, wasn't you?
Well, the pictures is right when I was in the hospital when they took those pictures.
Yeah, he had to be let out to go get his senior portrait.
Tony said she moved to, I don't even know how to say that in Texas, Nacogdoches?
Nacogdoches. Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches, Texas.
I don't know. Is that how you say it? Nacogdoches?
I have not seen that girl. I mean, I think about her every now and then, but I've never seen her again after she moved. Let's see here.
Yeah,
never know who you'll meet on YouTube. That's right. You never know who you'll meet on YouTube.
Yeah, and I've never been one to wear makeup. I tried it several times throughout the years. When I was in high school, all the girls wore makeup, and I don't know, I just couldn't stand it. And so I learned to use a little bit of powder.
Oh, James Baker says it's called Nacogdoches. I live there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Spelled Nacogdoches.
Yeah, and I tried the makeup thing. And then after I married the first time, my husband said, look, I don't care if you wear makeup or not. It don't bother me none. So I just quit. I would put a little bit on going to church. Again, my mama comes out in me sometimes because I think, I got to be dressed up and I got to have it look nice. And so when I would go to church, sometimes I would wear makeup. Well, over the years, I just finally just give it up.
Yeah.
And when Danny and I met, his previous wife that passed with cancer, she had her nails done, she did her hair, all this kind of stuff. And so the first time we were talking, I'm going, oh man, I'm fixing to have to start going to the beauty parlor. Every time I turn around, I'm going to have my nails done and pedicures, and I got to wear makeup, and because I thought that's the type person he was expecting me to be. And we were sitting talking one day, and I said, so I guess you're going to require that I start having my nails done. He said, why would I do that? I said, well, you're used to that, and I want to be able to be nice and dress nice for what. He said, I want you to be you, and don't worry about it. And I said, good, because I didn't want to have to start worried about nails and makeup and all this stuff. So I haven't worn much makeup in a long time.
Tony said, I've heard a lot of stories about your school days. Mark is a walking encyclopedia.
Uh-oh.
Mark and I
need to meet you, Mark.
Mark actually moved away and went to, I think it was Oklahoma or somewhere for a year or so, or several years, and then came back home. And I actually missed part of Mark's life, and it was me and several of the other guys who used to hang around together. But I have went and visited Mark where he lives at now. As a matter of fact, Mark's brother is his wife. I've done a lot of construction work for his wife in the past. Let me put it that way.
See, a lot of these women said they hadn't. They don't wear makeup for the most part.
I don't think women should wear makeup. But then again, I'll put it to you like this. I had a preacher one time who stood up in the pulpit. Men were complaining about their wives wearing makeup, and the preacher stood in the pulpit. And I wouldn't have done this, but he stood in the pulpit, and he said, men, you got to calm down. He said, any old barn could use a little paint on it, And I'm like, I can't believe he said that from the pulpit, But some preachers are just bold enough to do that, you know. I don't have anything against makeup because my wife that passed away used to make homemade makeup because store-bought makeup, you give yourself skin cancers and all kinds of different cancers from it. And her being a cancer patient, she made her own makeup.
So, you know, I mean, some women, some of y'all look better with makeup. I'm gonna tell you, y'all do. Y'all look better because some of you.
There's a lot of women that need makeup.
Yeah, I ain't gonna call no names, but one person came to our house one day, and I'd only seen them on YouTube. And when they got to our house, they didn't have no makeup on, and I thought I was looking for the other person. I didn't know who it was. Just saying. Quite different.
Quite different. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, if somebody said he wasn't married, an old barn, laugh out loud. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Wanda's skin is so clean and so smooth and everything like that. I think because she hasn't tarnished it with makeup, you know,
well,
and I wouldn't want her to.
I didn't ever use makeup, and I didn't start with all the harsh chemicals on my skin, and I didn't take a lot of, I don't take any medications. I never have all my life, and I don't think I've got all that buildup in my system. Now, I've eaten junk food, I can say that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the medicines, I didn't have the chemicals, just the soap for my hair. You know, I did use hairspray for a while, but not for very long because I hated hairspray in my hair. It made it feel stiff and yucky. So I've always been pretty natural.
I mean, to me, when someone tells me they're going to wear makeup, they're not happy with how God made them. You know, I mean, each one of us, the Bible says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I just believe that we should all just be natural.
Somebody said they didn't know Nancy Pelosi visited us. When I was talking about somebody looked different with makeup.
Yeah. Y'all didn't know that Nancy visited us? Yes.
No. Oh, I could just see her and Danny talking. Oh, Lord.
You know, Marsha's right. Wanda and I have saved a ton of money by not buying hair care products, nail care products.
Running to the salon.
Running to the salons. I mean, we probably look like sheepdogs, but, you know.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I don't get a haircut but maybe once a year. I normally cut my own hair until Wanda says, okay, you got to go get a haircut. You know?
I made him go with me the other day and get a little bit of a trim.
A little trim. I mean, I normally just cut my own hair.
We've saved a lot.
We do.
Not trying to be shabby, and not saying that we want to look shabby. It's not that. It just did not matter. It was not a high priority to look a certain way. And to me, I don't dwell on what I look like. You know, that's not something that I worry about. You accept me for me, and I accept you for you.
Yes.
If you wear makeup, fine and dandy, if that's what you want. If you fix your hair and color it 4 times a week, I don't care.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know.
That's just not me. This is my natural hair. I mean, that's the cut. Well, it's probably wet. You can't tell anything right now. But before Danny and I met, I think I was right at 50. And the lady that I went to church with, she was cutting my hair one day, and I said, look, when do I need to color this? I said, you know, I'm going to have gray. And she said, leave it alone. If you don't have a lot of gray, don't mess with it. Don't start coloring it till you have to. And I just thought at 50, everybody colored their hair. I thought that was a norm. And she said, nope, leave it alone. And then after Danny and I met, his friend that cut my hair the first time, I asked her, I said, look, what do you think about, you know, coloring my hair? What would you suggest? She said, leave it alone. She said, your hair is pretty. Don't mess with it. Don't start coloring it if you hadn't. She said, that's my advice. So
that's it.
I didn't do it. All right, we need to get off that.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how you get caught up on something and you just keep going with it. Somebody wants to know when we're going to plant our seed potatoes. Okay, we're going to plant our seed potatoes probably the first week of February, sometime. Well, it depends on when we can get some seed potatoes. Now, we already have potatoes in the ground that's been in there since last, October or something like that. If they start coming back up, we're just going to add a few to them.
Yeah.
You know, because we'll have plenty of potatoes.
Yeah, and we've already got our sweet potatoes in the ground for slips, and that happened by accident because when he was putting trees in the ground and stuff like that. If he found a potato that was left in the ground, he just went to the 60-foot raised bed, dug a hole, and put that potato in it. And he found one in a Vago bed today.
Yep.
And I went out to the 60-foot raised bed, dug a hole, put my potato in there, and so we have sweet potatoes for slips. When it starts warming up in a month or so, hopefully, 2 months, maybe.
Right, hopefully.
We should have sweet potato slips. They're already planted. I mean, they won't ruin, so, you know, they'll be fine. We hope to do the English peas this week.
Hopefully.
And then in February, toward middle to end of February, we should be doing some green beans, right? The yellow wax and the contender.
Yeah.
I think. And then the corn by March.
Yes.
And that's our biggest things. I don't start a lot of plants. Danny will probably start a few. I moved my Vago tomato self-watering pots on the back, and I'm going to do 2 tomatoes back there. He can do whatever he wants, but I'm going to do my 2 back here. And we're not doing a bunch of peppers.
No, we got enough peppers to last for another year.
We're going to do a couple, but not a lot. We're not doing a whole bed of them or anything. What else would we need? Squash.
Yeah.
We want to do the squash and zucchini, but we won't start those for a while. Cucumbers. I will be doing cucumbers. I've got the divas, and there was another one I had that's in their greenhouse tomatoes. Isn't that right? Both of those? There's 2 different kinds.
Yeah.
They don't need pollinators, so they should do well in the greenhouse. What else would we be doing?
I don't know, but y'all know where gray hair comes from? Gray hair comes from a lack of copper in your body. That's where gray hair comes from. You have a copper deficiency.
Yep. That's what, and I guess I get enough copper in mine that my hair's, I mean,
It's
I've got a little
bit of gray in it, but not much.
But I did have a problem with my blood this past year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm surprised it didn't all fall out.
Yeah.
My hair was starting to fall out, so that was one of the signs of having problems. What causes sweet potato slips to grow all season after planting and not produce sweet potatoes? Did you take them off
Did you take them off the potato? That's number one. They have to come off of the potato.
And be replanted.
Yes.
You don't just, they don't just come on and make them where they're at. You have to take them off there and
make sure they got roots on them and then replant them. That's what it sounds like.
Is it normal to have blueberries coming on?
No. It's not normal this time of year to have blueberries coming on.
Oh, somebody said they had a copper shortage since they were 11.
Yep.
And it's possible.
Okay.
I had a friend that had snow white hair, and she had issues since she was like 35.
Somebody wants to know what brand of overalls do I wear? I wear Roundhouse overalls. They make 2 different kinds of Roundhouse. You can get the button kind or you can get the zipper kind. I prefer the zipper kind. So you can get 2 different types. And you can get them in different weights, depending on whether you want them for cool weather or whether you want them for hot weather.
Somebody said you could take a spoonful of molasses a day to help with gray hair. You know,
because molasses is loaded with minerals.
Yep.
Literally loaded.
And see, we do our sugar cane, which is a process before you get to the molasses, right?
Yeah.
We didn't boil it down to the molasses stage.
Yeah, slips is what it's called. Yeah.
The Cherokee tan pumpkins. While I'm thinking,
oh yes, we have some
we
Cherokee
had a lady
tan.
send us some, and I know there were several people that had asked about them. I've gotten emails on Etsy and different stuff. If somebody's interested, if y'all will let me know, send me an email. I will send. I have a few. I don't have very many, so I'm not going to be able to send a lot out, but I will send some out. So just let me know if somebody's interested. My anemia problem seems to be all right now. I don't seem to have any issues yet. Now, it's been a year next month since I had my procedure done. And I think, I mean, for the most part, and I do get tired, but also I'm a year older, and we work really hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not nowhere near what I was last year.
Right. Most of us have copper deficiencies. I mean, copper. A lot of copper comes from your different minerals. You get like Redmond sea salt and places like that. I mean, you just get copper. Some of your vegetables are high in copper. Just Google vegetables that are high in copper, and just that's all I do, to make sure that I get what I need.
Our citrus is still in the barn. We didn't take it out today. He was a little
leery. I didn't know if it was going to freeze tonight because I didn't.
It's not. It's 42 right now, so I don't think we're going to get freezing. But they still have blooms on them, and everything looks good. So we're hoping the citrus is going to be fine.
Oh, Cindy at Simply Backwoods says, when I plant Danny corn and sweet corn, how far apart do they need to be planted? It's not about how far apart they need to be planted. It's about the distance between the time you plant them, because they don't need to pollinate at the same time. Corn can pollinate up to a mile away by honeybees and wind and all kind of stuff. So it's about not tossling at the same time. That's what you have to check, is days to tossling. Sweet corn tossels pretty quick. Danny corn usually takes a pretty good while, so you might have enough time if you plant them like a week apart or 2 weeks apart. You probably would be okay. I would plant the sweet corn first and the Danny corn second.
Yeah. Potatoes, mushrooms, and cashews are high in copper. And somebody says, I drink out of a copper mug. Oh, I was going to talk about the coffee, Silver Run Coffee Crafters. Before we get off, I want to give away one thing of coffee tonight. I think their live is on Facebook. I think it's this Monday night. They weren't on this past Monday, were they? They do every other Monday.
It's every other Monday. I don't remember which Mondays it is.
And I think this coming Monday is their live stream on Facebook. So Silver Run Coffee Crafters on Facebook, or you can go to their website, silverruncoffee.com. But I do want to give away one thing of coffee tonight, and some really good coffee, so John try it, and probably give away a decaf. We haven't given away a decaf, I don't think, so let's do a decaf. It's called Mellow Brew, or maybe I've given one away. Really good coffee, so I've got to think. How many people need decaf? Oh, that would be it. So Danny will find us somebody to give some decaf, and I don't have anything to write with. You got your pen?
I don't have my pen and pad on me tonight.
I have to. Miss Lippy will catch it if I say something. But
oh, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, my favorite potato variety. I'm guessing you're talking about sweet potatoes. If it's the Irish potatoes, I like the red Lesotho. They do better here in the Deep South. But if it's sweet potatoes, I like the Vardaman sweet potatoes, and I like the Puerto Rican yam. They're really, really good. Georgia Jet is another one that does really good. Beauregard does good. Now, if I'm talking about a white one, then I like the Nancy Hall on the white sweet potatoes. They seem to be the better ones of them.
All right, so we need somebody to send some coffee to.
Let's see here. Maybe.
Okay.
Let's see here. My chat's not moving, so
I'm writing stuff down. I gotta make sure I got it.
Okay. Never mind.
All right. Now it'll move.
Now where we go. Is pure cane sorghum. Oh, it's pure cane sorghum. I take it by myself. Okay, I'm looking at it by itself.
Yeah.
Now I love the fingerling potatoes. If you take the white Russian fingerling potatoes,
the French
and the French fingerlings, both of those taste almost like they already have butter on them.
The French
when you cook
them.
So the French is better than the White Russian, but the White Russians, I don't care. You can leave them things there till they shrivel up to nothing and put them in the ground and they still grow potatoes.
Yeah, it'll look like a sprout coming off of a shriveled up potato about the size of your finger here, and they still grow potatoes. I've never seen anything like it.
That's a good question. Gregory Kissel says, how many days could we do without coffee? Wanda and I have noticed the big thing going right now is coffee with everything. And guys, if you knew what I knew about the coffee industry, you would not drink another cup coming from Maxwell House, Folgers, Community. If you knew the chemicals and the process that goes into that coffee and what they're dumping into it, you would be looking for people like Silver Run Coffee Crafters to buy your coffee from. It keeps plain. They get the beans from across the water. They don't do anything to them. I mean, they.
And wasn't the Mellow Brew with? No, it wasn't the Mellow Brew. The beans that we use, the Malabar for smoking.
Smoking, yeah.
For ours to make our smoked coffee. We're still working on that, y'all. Those are organic.
They're organic, yes.
The ones we're using for our smoked coffee is organic. So if we can get that perfected in the future, we'll let y'all know.
I would love to tell y'all that the Malabar, Malibrew is organic, but it's not. You know, I mean.
Mellow Brew.
Mellow Brew is not organic because I asked them and they told me that
checked and it was not.
Was not.
But it is a good coffee.
But it has not had all the stuff done to the beans that they do to them in these other coffee plants. I'm telling y'all, I wouldn't drink coffee from anywhere else ever again. Once you taste coffee from Silver Run Coffee Crafters, you won't even want to buy the other coffee. I'm gonna just be honest with you. The other coffee is nasty.
It has a weird taste. I even bought on a sale rack 2 or 3 weeks ago these little pods for it was like a peppermint flavored coffee. Oh my goodness. I did one and I almost spit it out. That was the weirdest, nasty. I mean, I like peppermint. It's not that. Peppermint had nothing to do with it. It was the taste of the coffee. It was almost like it was a burnt coffee. And I was like, no way. I mean, my taste buds must have been flat before. All right, so the winner of the coffee is Miss Vicki Joyner.
Good night, Miss Lippy.
I'm writing it down, and I'll get with them.
Now you gotta go ahead and call the name out for somebody.
Miss Vicki Joyner.
They're getting out of here. Okay.
I just said it.
Miss Vicki Joyner, please send us your information, and Ms. Wanda will get you some coffee
sent out. And we have a book, but we're using it right now for the computer, and I can't show it. So maybe next week we'll give away the Back to Basics book. If y'all want to join us next week and you don't have the Back to Basics, be thinking of all the things that you might like to look at in that book, because
yes, and two, so many of your coffees now have flavors mixed in with them, and that's one thing. A true coffee, you shouldn't have to have any flavors added in with your coffees.
Okay, it's Silver Run, RUN.
Silver Run
Coffee Crafters, CRAFTERS, on Facebook.
Our moderators have put it up several times.
Yeah, and it's Silver Run Coffee, just Silver Run Coffee. There's a place close to us called Silver Run, and that's where they live and that's where they work. Okay, so what else?
We're past our time.
Yes.
So we need to.
Danny has a set of Foxfire books, but I think you'd have to fight him for them.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
They're very
The Back
nice.
to Basics is one of the better books, or just a quick flip through, and it gives you good detailed descriptions. I've had a Back to Basics since I was little. My daddy got that book when I was real little, and my kids were raised looking through it, and I used it to make bread the first time.
Wounded Knee, your potatoes are fine to plant. That is perfectly natural for them to turn dark colors like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's perfectly natural.
All right, so y'all want to put up your prayer requests?
They've been putting up some.
Okay. What are the top 5 books we should have on our shelf?
Top 5 books you should have on your shelf. Number
Bible.
1 is the Bible. Number 2 would probably be The Lost Ways.
I would say the Back to Basics.
Number 3 might be the Back to Basics. Number 4 would be the Foxfire edition of books.
Well, that's a whole set.
Yeah, that's an edition. Yeah, that's what I said. That's
Encyclopedia
a whole. It's only like 12 books,
yeah.
but.
Encyclopedia of Country Living by.
And the Encyclopedia of Country Living by Carla Emery.
That's a good variety there. I mean, you don't have to have them all, but if you had some of them, it gives you good. All of them give you a lot of good information. If you're planning on butchering animals, or what's basic butchering?
Basic. It's called Basic Butchering.
Yeah,
it's a really good book.
A lot of good details there.
Ronald Beatty says, I was over at True Grit and they said they know you. Yes.
We chat, Danny chats back and forth off and on with them.
We know them. We know them. Megan and Andy are really good people.
Does anybody remember the Childcraft Encyclopedia? Yeah, I found
yes.
What was that encyclopedia I found?
It wasn't Childcraft, it was
Book of Knowledge.
It's called Book of Knowledge.
I don't know why I got one, and it made it with me to here, and we were going through our stuff, and I said, how come I got one encyclopedia? The volume of Book of Knowledge. And I remembered somebody sent me that book one time wanting me to order the others, and I didn't. How come I hadn't thrown the A volume away before now? I don't know, but I still had the A volume.
Somebody said, I thought the Foxfire was just 8 of them. I think it's 12 of them, isn't it?
I think there's 12.
Yeah, I think
Plus
it's actually.
there's the cookbook.
Yes, and there's a cookbook. I have a
toy book. I've got all of them.
Yeah, we have all of them. We have the toy book, the cookbook, the whole Foxfire edition.
I think it's 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jennifer said, I got all the ones that Mama Couture had. What's she talking about? Is it Foxfire? Should she have those?
I don't know which ones Jennifer's talking about. It might be the Foxfire.
No, she's talking about the encyclopedias.
Oh, all the encyclopedias. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we need to. Oh, they said the site's getting nailed. They had an error.
Oh.
Okay, just give them time and try again. All right.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Lots of people putting up their prayer requests.
Vicky said there are 14.
Yes. I knew there was quite a few of them there.
And the cookbook, and then the one on toys. I think it's toys.
Tina's Lake Life says, can you recommend a good gluten-free recipe book?
Oh,
what is it?
Test Kitchen?
Is that what it's called?
No, theirs was, yeah. I think that's what I have.
I don't know. I would be lying if I told you.
If I remember correctly, I have the Test Kitchen, which has been on TV. The Test Kitchen has a gluten-free, and that's the one I used more than anything else when I was needing recipes. I've kind of got my recipes down to what I do now, and I don't even use a book anymore. But when I first started working with gluten stuff, the Test Kitchen tests out every recipe, everything, and they get it to perfection. Yeah. And so you have qualified chefs testing recipes, and they don't put it in that book till it is proven.
Yeah.
And it was a good way to learn how to make a lot of stuff.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Father, humbly approaching the throne of grace and mercy. Father, interceding tonight for the ones upon the chat here. Many have put their requests up, Father. I've seen lots of them about different cancers, different tests they need running, some about finances. People just ask and say, hey, pray for me. And we'll return the favors. We'll pray for you. And Father, we're lifting up all these people, all the requests that are made here tonight. Some people have sore throats and different things. Father, I am taking tonight, standing in the gap, and asking and speaking healing upon all the bodies of the people who have the ailments here tonight. I speak healing in the name of Christ on these people so that they rise up tomorrow, Lord, and their symptoms are just, I would love to see them just gone, Father. And I believe in all my heart that it can be done. Father, people are needing financial blessings. Some people said, pray about my jobs and different things like that. And Lord, I'm praying for their jobs. I pray that they get a good job if they don't have one, or if they're having problems on their job, that you will intercede for them and cause the problems to go away. And Father, help us to, there's so many verses in the Bible that deals with problems and how to overcome them. The scripture teaches us that if someone comes against us in one direction, that they should run in 7, Father. You can make that happen, and that you would make us the head of everything and not the tail of anything. We should pray for the blessings of obedience on a daily basis, so that we can be, our storehouses will never be empty, but they'll always be full. And you'll bless our going out, you'll bless our coming in, Father. Lord, I'm praying now that, Lord, this is a tough one here. AI has now found cures for all diseases. All cancers, all diseases out there, AI now has a cure for them. And Father, it is my prayer tonight that this would not be held back from the public, and that it would be made known to the public, all these cures that's out there, and that they would be made available to any and everybody who wanted them. And I'm just praying tonight, Lord, that you would make that happen for the people who are begging and pleading for their different types of cancers that they have. And Father, we love you. Tonight we have a lot of people going into power in this country, and I am praying myself tonight that you be with all the leaders of the nation now. Looks like we've got some godly people. I've listened to their testimonies going into offices, and Father, I'm praying that you will bless America again, and that you'll stand with us, Father, so that we can be the head of all nations and not the tail anymore. We love you, we appreciate you, and ask that you forgive us now. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Well, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say, a tip or not, but I had something that I thought about was, with all this change in the government and everything, new president, new everything, don't get hooked on what you think everybody ought to do. Let them do their jobs, and don't put them on pedestals, and don't think that they're somebody they're not. I mean, just like if Danny and I, don't put us on pedestals. Don't think that we're somebody we're not. We're just people like you are that found a way to do something on YouTube, you know, offer advice. Well, our government officials are the same way. Don't get aggravated because they don't do everything your way. God is, if they are godly people, God's leading them, hopefully, and we need to pray that God's leading them, and not bicker and argue. Well, I thought they were going to do this, and they said they were going to do that. Well, it takes time sometimes. You don't just change things overnight, and there's going to be things that some of us don't like. There's going to be some of the things we do like. So we got to take the good with the bad. So that was my thought.
Somebody asked a question here. I'm going to answer this question. Said, what happened to all the demons that when Christ went and met Legion at the graves and the tombs, and he cast out all those demons, and they went into the swine, and the swine ran frantically down the hill and drowned themselves. What happened to all those demons? Those demons are still alive and very well today. Demons, what they do is they look for someone to attach themselves to, or something to attach themselves to. That's why we don't go to places like Walmart very often and get anything, because these people who are wicked go through places like Walmart, and they cast these demons upon certain things in stores, and then when people buy these things and they bring them home, they bring demons into their houses. And that happens all over the place all the time. I mean, and people who don't have discernment don't know that they're bringing demons into their houses. Things like placing these gazing balls out into your on your lawn as lawn ornaments and stuff like that. Many times these things have had demons cast onto them, and these demons are looking for places to live. And the scripture tells us that you can cast a demon out of your body, but if you do, you better replace it with Christ. Because if you don't, it says that demon goes walking in dry places, and he hunts up 7 demons that are worse than he was, and those 7 demons come back and they indwell that person, and the end of that person is worse than the beginning of that person. He was better off with the one demon than he was with all the others that's coming to live in his body. So be careful. You got to be really, really careful about this kind of stuff. Demons are real. And as a matter of fact, probably here shortly, you're going to start seeing things. Let's just say they can take on different shapes and images and can indwell within certain things. They can live within people. They can live within animals. I mean, it's perfectly clear to know they can live in animals because Christ put them in pigs. They run down, and the pigs were smart enough, they ran down the hill and drowned themselves because it made them mad. So we know that they can go into animals, they can go into people. I mean, they can go into anything. But I'm telling you today, you're fixing to come into a point in history where you're going to start seeing evil in ways you never imagined. That's why I tell people, make sure your faith is strong. The scripture says, when they say Christ is in the desert, don't go to the desert looking for him. When they say he's here, don't go over there looking for him. You'll know Christ is here when he comes in the clouds after us. He's not coming down here on earth to meet anybody anywhere. So when people say that Christ is over here or Christ is over there, don't believe it. Use some discernment. And scripture always says, people tell us, well, I have tried and tried and tried to talk to this person. I've tried to talk to this person. The scripture also tells us, don't cast your pearls before swine. Shake the dust off of your feet. There's times the Spirit of God will not always chide with man. God gives people a certain amount of time. And once that amount of time is reached, the Lord says, move on. Go where the Spirit, like the Apostle Paul when he was on his missionary journeys, he tried to go here, he tried to go there, he tried to go somewhere else, and he could never go until he went to Macedonia, and he was well welcomed at Macedonia. You go where the Spirit allows you to go. I mean, that would be the best advice I could give anyone. And don't freak out about things that's coming. Y'all always hear me talking about the 33rd parallel. Look at what happened in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is in that parallel coming across the United States. I mean, anyone who's in northern Texas, northern Louisiana, central Mississippi, on across, northern Alabama, lower Tennessee. I mean, guys, you go on and just follow parts of Missouri. I mean, you just go on across there and look at the 33rd, 34th parallel through there. Guys, there's things going to be happening on that parallel.
On over into North Carolina, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes on over into North Carolina where all the tragedies happened. I mean, all this kind of stuff. Guys, pay attention. The 33rd parallel, there's a reason behind it. I can't go into it on YouTube, but there's reasons behind the 33rd parallel. Just start doing your homework. Asking the Lord to open your eyes to certain things, like what states are actually going to be burning. I mean, my video that was pulled down, I talked about Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Texas, Florida, New York. These are different places that's going to burn, and I don't know when, and I don't know how. It's just a vision God gave me years ago, and he has assured me that it's going to happen. So.
And it didn't. He got the vision like many years ago.
It was like in the 80s, 1980s.
So that's been a long time. and it hasn't happened yet, and it may not happen for a long time, and it could happen next week. Or it could happen one last week, one this week, one next week. We don't know. He just knows he had a vision. And I get emails a lot from people, and I can't explain anything to you. I just don't answer emails when people start asking me questions on specifics, on their states, their problems, whatever. You just have to go to the Lord, because Danny and he only knows what the Lord showed him.
Right.
He can't go into details and tell you what to do, how to do, or when to do. That's on you. We only know what we need to do, and we know how we need to prepare and what we need to prepare ourselves for. You know, we do a lot of prepping, but we also depend on the Lord just to go day to day through everything, and that's where you need to be. I mean, I can't help you in emails. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's I will tell you, the earth has now begun to move off of its axis. I will tell you that. I can't go into detail about much about it, but I will tell you that the earth has begun to move off of its axis. Now, not the North Pole moving. The actual earth is beginning to move off of its axis, and there is a very good reason why that's happening. There's several other things that the water events are still coming. I'm going to tell you that. There's still water events coming. I mean, why do you guys think that they moved Plum Island off of the outside edge of New York? Why do you think they moved Plum Island into Kansas and got it away from the eastern shore? Why do you think all the money people moved off of the eastern part of New York up there and moved to Chicago? Businesses are moving away from the coastlines and going deeper into the center of the country because they all know something is going to happen. And it ain't.
and it probably the whole United States, I think the whole world is going to see.
It's the whole world. It's not the United States.
It's not just the United States.
And
so to say, can I move here? Can I move here? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
You just have to be prepared in your soul and know that's the way we look at life.
Be cautious too, because let me say something to you. Psyops are out there everywhere. All of your mainstream medias are using psyops to steer the population into a particular direction. Now, most people don't understand psyop. The United States government uses it. The United States military uses it. I mean, all your news channels uses it. I mean, it's just businesses use it. You will know when you're being had a psyop used on you. When you hear somebody, like, let's just use the news for instance. If all the news channels tell the same exact story, the same exact way,
using
and
the
same exact words, same exact scenes, and all that kind of stuff, that's a psyop. They are trying to embed fear into you. That's why I won't watch TV.
It doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
No, it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
They're wanting you to concentrate on that while something else is happening somewhere else.
Yes.
Because I started noticing this a few years ago, and more so in the last 2 years. Used to, you could turn on ABC and they would have the news story, but they would have different pictures, different things.
Yes.
They wouldn't. Then you could turn on NBC. They would have the same stories, not exactly the same wording or anything, but now YouTube and all the news agencies and everything, if you notice, every single one of them, the words are almost identical when the person starts talking, no matter which channel you put it on, they're almost identical. And when you hear like something in there that they keep repeating that one word that they keep repeating, pay attention.
Pay attention to the words.
Because that word's very important. And so that's one of their deals, is the same word over and over. It's a marketing ploy. When I took marketing in school, you picked out certain words and you kept using them over and over to entice people to buy the product. Well, they're trying to sell you a product. saying that's basically what it's. They
Right.
selling you a line of.
Yeah, Gregory Kissel says not many people know about Plum Island. Well, that is true. Plum Island is where things like Lyme disease came from. There's a ton of different diseases that came from Plum Island out there as experiments. Your gain of function, a lot of your gain of function was done at Plum Island, and now it's all been moved into Kansas, the state of Kansas. And I think that's crazy to put something like that in the center of a nation out here, where if something gets loose, it's in the center of the country. At least before, it was on an island in the ocean. But they all know that water event's coming and that island is going underwater. So, I mean, they just moved it all.
Okay, we
got to get off here.
I'm hurting.
I know, both of us are hurting and aching really, really bad.
But guys, I promise I'll have some video up sometime next week, just not sure when.
Yeah.
I think my granddaughter's coming to visit for a day or two, and we're going to probably have some things to do with her. And I don't know, we've got a Azure pickup in a week or so, a little over a week. So we might talk about Azure again. Danny's been working on the greenhouse. I'm going to do some greenhouse stuff. What else? You got anything special? Probably not.
I'm just going to be, I'll be back and forth at Deepsouth Homestead some working.
Yeah, we're going to be working at Deepsouth a lot.
You know,
so
I'm trying to get,
our time is limited with that.
I've got to get the high tunnel up, get it going with, like English peas and stuff like that. I got to add some more soil to it, different things like that. So we'll have some videos coming up this week, I hope. It's just going to be nothing fancy. It's just going to be what we're doing on a daily basis. And I hope y'all will enjoy it. Thank you guys from Deep South.